Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know you guys, this video here is very late, but you guys, I am going through a lot of changes and I'm really trying to navigate myself around it. So you guys, please bear with me. Nevertheless, it's always better to be late than never, right? So you guys, let's look into the video ahead of us. And today we are going to be talking about racism in Germany and racism in general. I am nervous, you guys, because this topic here is very sensitive, but you know what? Let's get into the video. My first encounter with racism in Germany was in 2018. This was 6 months upon my arrival in a little town called Eschwege. We were attending the Johannesfest. For the Germans watching, you guys know what I'm talking about. This event goes on for quite a while, and at the very end, there is celebrations and fireworks, and that is exactly something I wanted to take part in, because at this time, I remember I had two little kids that had visited us from a friend of mine. So that was definitely a good opportunity for us to get out there. We got at the event at about 6 p.m. We joined in, we ate. There was really a lot of fun to have there, and that went on for quite a while until a time came where we all had to gather at one place and actually watch the fireworks, which is what we were all there for, right? I remember everybody just like running around trying to find a good spot, and we actually were lucky. We found a spot right in front of the river with this like border pole where one could actually lean on and be lazy and watch. We stationed ourselves next to like a family with two kids, and there was just like people around us, but I really like took note of those, because for me it was really nice to like stand where there was children, because that was like a very child friendly environment, and not to squeeze ourselves amongst like elderly people, right? While we were standing there, something happens. I think one of the little girls like leans on the pole or touches the pole. I don't know, like I really didn't pay attention to that. But when they did whatever they did, they actually got in contact with the little boy that was standing next to them. And you guys, that was the biggest mistake anybody ever did. The boy screams. He screams in agony, and everybody is like worried for him. I myself, I looked down at him, because in my head the only thing I could think of was maybe somebody stepped on him, right? I look at him, you guys, and the boy is screaming, he's crying, and he's saying something. He's saying something to his father, like accusing the little girl for touching him. He was accusing her that she touched him. And wow, that was for me like really amusing. Like, she just touched you, so what's the big deal? But it's not just that, you guys. While this little boy is crying and I'm trying to like apologize to him, the parents immediately pull him away from us. They pull him away from us, and they pull their little daughter too away from us, and they literally migrated from where we are and found a place elsewhere to stand. You guys, we were standing in a spot where we could see everything. We could see everything. We could make good videos, we could make pictures. So yeah, anybody else would be happy to be standing there. And I remember people just took over the spot. But what really actually topped up the feeling, because I have to be honest, you guys, being treated like that in public makes you feel naked, out of place, and lonely, embarrassed even more so. There was young boys, like teenage boys, standing also a little bit further away from us. They actually laughed at us. They laughed at us, like even made it worse. You're already feeling embarrassed, you're already feeling out of place, and then here comes like two idiots who think they can laugh about it. So feeling like that, I tried to make sure that the children didn't actually like get affected by that. We really tried like to move off from that and like enjoy the whole enjoy what was left of the event. But for me, this event was like really stuck up in my head. Whatever happened really stood out for me. It really did stay in my head the whole evening, but I really tried not to pass it over to the children. We went back home. We were tired because it was really a great evening, and we all like fell asleep immediately. But the next morning I talked about this with a friend of mine and also a teacher of mine, my language course teacher, and they actually said something to me that was very similar. They told me to be careful and that there had been occasions in the past, similar occasions with people being attacked at events, because in such events you come across a lot of people and not everybody is in favor of black people. We all have to understand that we were in a very small village, and we were probably like one of the few black people that you would actually find or meet in that area. So yes, that was very enlightening. It was definitely not funny to hear, because at this point in time then I started to also feel insecure and feel the need to watch my back, and that's really not a good feeling to carry around, right? Time went on. I think August, I think at that time my daughter had also started school in Eschwege. And you guys, that was really, really not fun for her. She struggled. She struggled a lot. Children were not friendly to her. They said a lot of bad words, a lot of terrible words, things that my daughter didn't know up to that time. Like, she was really introduced to all these N words. Like, it was really, really sad and hard for her. They didn't want to be friends with her. They really, really isolated her. And every now and then she came home with a story. She came home with, like a lot of different experiences. And she didn't really want to go to school at some point. She was really demotivated. And me as a parent, I have to push my child to go to school. I have to encourage her to go to school. But how do you encourage your child when they are experiencing such things? How do you send your child off to go get hurt? That was really a tricky and a very difficult place for me to be placed in, and I didn't really know what to do. Coming to Germany was not easy for me, and just giving up just like that was also like really a difficult decision. But I really came to the point of, you know what, if things don't change, we go home. If things don't change, it is not worth creating bad memories for my child. I cannot sacrifice my child's happiness for the need to create a better life for myself in Germany. These two things just don't fit in together, because in the end of the day, my daughter has always and will always be my priority. So yeah, I had planned that in January, which was the coming year, because it was already end of the year when we actually experienced all this. In January we were to go back home, but in the midst of making that decision, I came across someone who changed my life, you guys, and that was my now husband, Christian. Christian introduced me to a different side of Germany. He made me see that Germany is definitely a place worth living. It definitely can be fun, but you just have to be in the right places, right? I think where we actually like located ourselves in the beginning was just really not a good place to start off your life in Germany. So we spent more time in Kassel, and we figured that people and the atmosphere back here was definitely different from what we had been introduced to in the beginning. The people here were very accepting, very welcoming. They are more, I would say, advanced, more civilized than where we were. If people didn't like you in Kassel, they just avoided you. They stayed away from you. But if people don't like you in Eschwege, they felt the need to tell you that they don't like you, and that's definitely painful to deal with, right? So yes, we move into this beautiful new life. You know, we visit Christian every weekend. We spend more time in the castle area, which was really, really encouraging and motivating. And after like 4 months of being together, we make a decision to actually move in together because the distance between us was just like really big. We had to drive long ways to see each other. So we moved in together, and yeah, we just blended into this new city, new town, and I must say we all loved it. My daughter was happy in school. She had no problems of any sort in the school that we placed her into at that time. And I, on the other hand, I went back to school. This was my goal here in Germany. I started really pursuing everything that I wanted to achieve coming here. And I think months later, I decided actually to take up a job. I got a job in a hotel as a receptionist, which I really loved. I loved the hotel. It was really nice atmosphere, great employers, and really good colleagues. We worked together for a duration of like a year, I guess. But halfway in that duration of working together, I had a very weird encounter. One day when I was actually working on a night shift, I was actually going to take over that shift on my own on this day, and I was exchanging with one colleague of mine. I remember like not long after I actually arrived at work, a gentleman comes in. I would guess him to be in his middle age, 40s, if I'm not mistaken. He walks into the hotel and walks towards us. At this point, I think my colleague was like packing up her bags, right? The guy walks towards us and I greet him, you know, as one would in a hotel. You welcome the guest and you greet them, right? He doesn't respond. So I'm like, perhaps he didn't hear me, right? So I repeat. I greet him for the second time. And the guy just doesn't respond. But now I'm quite sure he actually heard me because he says, Nine, can she please help me? You know? He literally tells me no. Can your colleague assist me, please? So I'm like, sorry, what do you mean? She's actually leaving work now. She's already closed her till. She cannot reopen, you know? And this guy is like, looking at my colleague, expecting a reaction from her, and she like literally just ignores him, you know. So I'm like, like trying to like go forward with my work with him. Then he goes like,
Nein, nein, nein. Was ist jetzt los in Deutschland? Überall, wo ich hingehe, sind diese schwarze Leute.
He was like really, really, like you guys, the guy was really, 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 really losing it. You know, he could not deal with the fact that there was another black person there trying to be of service to him. You know, I'm like frozen. Like I don't even know like what's going on because up to then I had never been treated like that in this hotel. Like I'd been working there now for 6 months and nobody ever spoke to me like that. So I didn't know what to say. I didn't really know how to react. The only thing I remember saying to him was, I am the only person at this moment in the house to assist him, right? And he looks at me and he says straight to my face,
Mit Leuten wie du rede ich nicht gerne.
you know? I'm like, okay, that's fine. I understand. Let me just check you in and then you can go. I print out his Meldeshine, um, give it to him. I just placed it on the counter because really there was no like mutual ground between me and him. And he takes this Meldeshine, he signs and throws it back to me. So he didn't like, place it on the counter or give it back to me. He just throws it back. It falls on the ground. I pick it up and I activate his card. I place it on the counter. He pulls up his bag, saying like the worst things to me. He said things that I'm not even comfortable to say on camera right now. That's definitely not my vocabulary, but he really used like teenage immature words towards me and he walked away. You guys, I don't know, like at that time, all this time I was like literally shocked and frozen. But the moment that guy walked away, I broke into tears. I started crying, and I really, really think that I really stayed up a lot of attention for many people because my colleague had me in her arms, and I remember seeing one woman running towards us, and she immediately puts me, wraps her hands around me, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I saw everything, but I could not do anything. This type of people are really difficult to deal with. I'm so sorry. And I remember she stopped everybody because people were coming in. It's a hotel, because you're having a bad day doesn't mean people don't come in for check-ins. So she kindly asks everybody, but everybody could see that something was going on. She kindly asks everybody to just like wait for a while and allow me to process everything. And I think that was really a nice gesture. My colleague then calls my boss and asks him if he could check in the rest of the guests, because this is really against our policy. When you close your till, you cannot reopen. You cannot work a shift that is not yours. This is actually done for security reasons. In case any money or anything goes wrong, it's always going to be easy to actually like trace back who actually created the problem. So she had to at least get approval from him, and he was like, okay. So she helped the rest of the guests, and then there was someone coming through to take over the shift from us. I also called my husband to come over because I was really scared, really, you guys. I was scared. I also remembered what the friend of mine said in Eschwege. So I thought, you know what, I just need somebody here. I called my husband, he drove over, and he stayed until we could like leave. We left on Sunday. I didn't work, and on Monday when I came back to work, my boss wanted to hear what really had happened. So I walked him through the whole situation, the whole story. My colleague also did the same thing. Then they blocked the guy from visiting the hotel again, and they also sent a report to his company because he was actually traveling through his work. I don't know how that unfolded, you guys, because really it is something that I didn't want to involve myself into anymore. If things didn't work out the way I wanted, I think I would have had to live with it for the rest of my life. So I didn't want to like hurt myself, and I didn't want to feel ill-treated. So I just like disconnected from the whole situation. All I know is the guy checked himself out the following morning. He was to stay in the hotel for the entire week, but he checked out the following morning. I don't know for what reason he did, but he did it. He just left abruptly the hotel. Probably felt bad. I don't know. I moved on with my life. Didn't really talk about this this whole experience with anybody for a very long time. I think it took me a while up to the time where I could like really tell the story, and I did tell it to a few people. So many people really might not know the story here. But that was really like my last experience with racism in Germany thus far. I haven't had any encounters, you guys. It's 2022, and yeah, I'm very happy and excited that things have been looking out very positive for me. I have a job now, and I'm going to be working with the public. I'm going to be working with a lot of people. So let's see what that brings forth. But really, I am going into it with a positive mind. My philosophy really in life, is to take people as they come. I don't like to consume myself with negativity. So for me and my child, the goal here in Germany is to integrate ourselves and live with people in harmony, and accept people for who they are. Take people as they come. I don't think racism is a thing you want to go around carrying with you. By doing that, you actually make your own life miserable. And when it comes to the racist tag that many people are carrying around nowadays, being like a victim of racism, thinking that you can associate everything that happens, everything that goes wrong with you with racism is really opportunistic, I would say. You cannot use something that is so detrimental to win in life. We're teaching our children something that they will carry with them, something that would just make it hard for them to associate with other people. I've also noticed that nowadays people of the opposite race from us are scared to associate with us because they don't know, they don't know how to, because anything really can easily be connected to racism. A bad job, can easily be connected to racism. A moody till operator, she probably has her periods, that is racist. Why did she treat me like that? Someone staring at you in an uncomfortable way is racism. Like, everything is literally racism, and this is really, really bad, you guys. It's definitely bad. I know what it feels like to be racially profiled. I know what it feels like to be treated bad in that way, you guys, but I also feel like we cannot go around blaming the entire world for that. We cannot go around blaming everybody for one person's mistakes. We need to learn to fall, get up, and move on, because in the end of the day, we need to stay united. We need to build a community in which we can all benefit from. Our children need to grow up together. They need to grow up with love for everybody, and we also need to learn how to start. For the people spreading racism, you are definitely an outcast. This is not the time for that. We are living in a modern world, and we need to learn how to live together. Look at how the world has changed socially. People coming together, people from different races, different backgrounds, different traditions, children born in these families. We need to support each other, you guys. So my conclusion on the topic is that there is racism in Germany, just like in any other country in the world. However, the rate at which you will experience it in Germany might be higher than the rate that you would experience it in your own country, because Germany is a country that has a very small population of Black people. So yes, the amount of people that are against Black people obviously also rises. That doesn't mean that Germans are racist, you guys. There is definitely rotten apples, and there is definitely lovely people out there. So my best advice for you guys is to come into the country with a positive mentality and take everybody as they come, because people are not the same. That's it, you guys, for me on this topic. I know that following this video, I will get some hate comments, nothing that I haven't received up to now. But my goal with my channel is to speak my truth, and that's what I will stick to. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you feel that this information was of value, please consider subscribing, because I'm coming back with more videos like this. Stay tuned, you guys. Goodbye.